at US. Got a jam-packed show. Gonna be a lot of fun. We got Allie Peak. You know it's always a great time when Allie joins the show. Gonna be talking top SEC quarterbacks. Also, ESPN drops a little bit of a nugget on our new guy Sturdivant. We're gonna be talking about that, how Napier may have found another golden nugget in that wide receiver room. Then compare this Florida team to other teams out there. We're already talking a pregame show. Going to be a fun conversation and other topics. You not want to go anywhere. Smash the like button, subscribe. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. David Swolder. What's going on, big dog? Good to see you.
Oh man, oh man, oh man! What a weekend! Let's first of all, before I even say anything, let's talk about this baseball and basketball team, man. Now, see, look, I don't watch baseball. I don't watch basketball. You know, I'm not the biggest watcher of that. I've been watching kind of lately both sports, and both of them are looking pretty deep. I mean, it looks like we got another Jack Caglione on the baseball team. I mean, the basketball team's humming. We got to see how much depth they had over the course of like a couple of weeks. So it's like, hey, man, you throw stuff at Florida, especially their baseball and basketball team. They just keep humming and going down the stretch, man. So it's just like, it's been wild. It's been crazy. But as far as this weekend goes, man, I feel like, I had a lot of depth in those Jaeger bombs this weekend, but it's high top. It's Wednesday. Let's get it.
Dave still doesn't know the rules of any of those sports that he just mentioned, but he knows that the orange and blue is winning, and that excites him. Boys and girls, let's go and get Allie in here. We're crunched for time, and we don't want to waste any valuable time that we do have with Allie. Allie, good to see you. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys. You have 45 minutes. That's not like a short amount of time.
Oh, is it 40? It feels so much shorter in my head. I don't. Maybe because we waste so much time. Usually, Dave and I just jabber in the beginning. That felt okay. 45 minutes. So I was panicking. We got time. Allie's got time today. Do you mention Jaden Ball a lot on your show? Brandon's already freaking out about Jaden Ball. He's just anti Jaden, and I don't know why.
What?
He is. He's
anti.
Yeah, he says he's not, but he just thinks the stats, and he tries to say that Jacoby Jackson's bad. I don't know. It run the ball, right?
He's not going to love my breakout player then if we get to that segment.
I love this. This show's already fired up. Do you want to I do. Okay, so now that I have 45 minutes, I can slow down a little bit. I was panicking. I was like, the whole show's ruined. We're going to just cancel everything because Allie's got to go.
Are you drinking coffee or Ben? You're talking very fast.
I am drinking coffee. I get fired up for the show, Allie. Come on. What sucks is I'm tired when I get home, and then I got to get ramped up, and then I'm like, I end the show, and I'm like walking around the house, and Kayla's like, you good? I'm like, I'm buzzing off the show, baby.
Now what? Yeah.
You guys want to do the show?
I gave him some Adderall before the show, so he's feeling pretty pumped.
Yeah, I wish. All right, boys and girls, let's talk about Mr. Sturdivant being added to the squad here. So this little article is dropped by ESPN, and look, I think we knew about the excitement, and I kind of wanted to just talk about this a little bit. And here's my comparison to Sturdivant a little bit. I might get thrashed for comparisons today. I already gave a little bit of a preview of a thought for a topic later, and Allie gave me the eyes. So we'll see. We'll see how it rocks and rolls. But Sturdivant was getting some major love from ESPN and kind of being that was Florida's top pickup in the portal. I'm like, that sounds sexy when you read it like that, but us that have been watching along, we all know that Florida really didn't go aggressively at the portal, so it was low bar there. But all in all, I still think we can all agree a great pickup. But the little topic line that I liked was that he was projected to go 16th in the NFL draft in 2025 for wide receivers. And although, again, that's not a splashy number, I think about when Ricky Pearsall, when he came on our show, when he decided to come back, I remember him saying, like, look, the reason I came back was where they had me ranked I wasn't satisfied with that. And you got to believe that Sturdivant kind of falls into that same category, is trying to make one last splash and elevating his draft stock. And that's where I think I saw this. I go, just one more reason to get excited. And he goes, look, he took that chance to come play at Florida and, of course, play alongside DJ Lago. What are your thoughts, Allie?
I mean, I think, first of all, I think Billy Gonzalez, I don't know if I'm going to get roasted for this thought or not. I do half the time on social media, but I think Billy Gonzalez is such a great developer of talent. I think that you can look at his resume over the past literally 20 years and see so many guys that he's quietly helped get to the NFL. So I think this was a smart move on his part. And, just look at the track record in the last couple of years, what Florida has been able to do for wide receivers. I'm sure Billy has a huge hand in that. And our wide receiver room was already stacked, so I don't know that this was like a make or break pickup, but I think it was a big one. And I think this is a piece to the puzzle. And yeah, it's smart to come back to up your draft stock. 16th would put you, probably third to fourth round,
Probably,
maybe?
yeah. Probably.
Depends on kind of the year and what else is going on.
What's the need?
Yeah,
I
I
think we had
mean, so
5 go in the first round last year. So kind of just to give you a perspective of like what could
yeah, it just
happen.
kind of depends on so yeah, so third round would probably be a fair guesstimate, but you've got to think that you come back, you're catching balls from DJ Lagway, you're playing behind one of the best offensive lines in the country next year. I think it's probably fair to say we'd be top 5, right? At a better university, you're going to get some love. This is not a this was a smart move on his part, a smart move on Florida's part, and I'm here for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll let you go. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I mean, anytime you can take talent that runs a 10.3800 meter, runs a mid 4.3, he's 6'3", 205, got the speed, he's got the size at wide receiver that you want, especially since you're looking for that bigger wide receiver and you lost, DK, you lost Badger last year. You really needed somebody with a little bit more experience. I think that is what they were looking at in the portal is like, okay, well, we got all this talent. And granted, a 5-star wide receiver can come in and play automatically and be great. I mean, we've seen many people come to the University of Florida that were 5-star wide receivers. I mean, I'm not going to compare anybody to Percy Harvin, but his name sticks out to me when I think
Sure.
about that. But, these guys are ready to play. They just need to learn the offense. I think you did need more of an experienced wide receiver to go along with Eugene Wilson. So I think this was a good addition. You look at his stats at UCLA, didn't really have good quarterback play over there. But at the same time, you bring him into a different offense with a 5-star quarterback at DJ Lagway who can throw the deep ball and be the deep threat that he is and throw it as accurate as he does. I mean, maybe you do have a really good solid weapon out of there at the portal. I think he was top 100 or got re-ranked to top 100 in the portal as well. So I still think it's a great pickup from, what I've seen and some of the film I've watched on him. It's just a matter of getting him in the offense, getting him used to Lagway and getting him acclimated with everybody else.
Yeah, Billy Gonzalez, I feel like got a little bit of flack when the contracts are coming up. I think there was people saying like, "Oh, we don't, not too concerned on signing him," which it was kind of like weird to me because of the things that he has done. Right? Like
It's been such a solid position the entire time he's been at Florida. Like if you think about where you had your biggest worry, it was never wide receiver. So I didn't understand that
literally
either.
produced a first rounder. like
Literally. I mean,
literally.
I don't know that there's anything sexy about Billy in terms of his recruiting. I mean, he's going to be solid. He's not necessarily pulling 3 5-star wide receivers like they're doing at Ohio State, but he's
Or Oregon.
evaluating talent well, and then he's continuing to develop it, and they're getting drafted high. And he's taking transfer portal guys who were, you know, okay, so, right? And it massively improving their draft stock. So I don't know. I don't get the Billy hate.
We may be in trouble here tonight, Allie. We might be just passing back hot takes, but kind of sounds very
If,
familiar to Rob Sale. Okay,
if Billy,
I'm just saying, develops very well, doesn't recruit very sexy, but we got a guy with 2 bricks. Slaughter could be a
Yeah.
first round. I'm just saying, you're saying the same thing, same guy. Now, if is
people
he
would love
signed, is
Billy.
he still a Gator? Do we know? Sorry, Dave.
Who?
Rob.
Who? What?
Rob Sale.
Feel like we don't know. We haven't got confirmation. I feel like Allie knows, but
Oh, God.
okay, we'll leave it at that. Dave, thoughts?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I feel like people would like Billy more if he could call offense a little bit better, and maybe with the weapons you got now, especially. I mean, that's a lot of
Is he
weapons you got.
allowed to call offense though? Like
Yeah, is he? I
is
don't know.
Gonzalez
I
allowed
mean,
to call anything? We don't know. We're told there'll be lots of people calling lots of things. So maybe he's one of those lots of people. But do we know that Billy Gonzalez is allowed to actually have a say in the game plan?
He's not a
I don't know.
co-OC. Okay, Allie said no. Follow the title, please.
Well,
Follow
so
the
then
title.
you answered your own question then.
Billy makes it very clear. Okay, everyone has a title. Okay, Billy has his.
Well,
Billy G.
he's the
That
wide
is.
receiver czar, okay?
Good stuff. But look,
Oh,
huge shout out to Student Event. Wanted to talk about that because I think when we added him, I think there was excitement, but as Florida fans, we're always in that want more stage, and I think it kind of got overlooked because it was along the lines with the kid from Texas. I can't remember his name that went to Washington. They got arrested. Who went to
I say he's
Jonte
been
Cook
arrested twice since then. So
since then? Good golly. So
twice.
that's crazy.
twice.
I can't. What's his name?
I don't even remember.
Cook.
I just know he's been arrested twice.
Jonte Cook.
Oh, Cook. Yeah,
Cook.
yeah, Cook.
So that always was kind of during that time when we picked up Student Event too, and people were like, "Oh, the 5-star," and got distracted with it. Clearly, there was
Right.
not a good fit, and not a good fit for a good reason. So good stuff there. All right, let's we definitely want to talk. I would definitely want to talk about this before we lose. I mean, we still have time, but I'm panicking on our time, so I want to go over this. So I thought about this conversation or this topic because I do this a lot. When you're trying to think of teams or you're talking about teams, you always try to compare it or relate it to
Sure.
something to make you understand. Like, okay, yeah, I see where this team's coming from. For an example, this Ohio State team, I said all year reminded me of that Michigan team the year prior. Brings back a lot of talent, have all the pieces to win it. The best team, by far in the country, to that Michigan team. I've kind of jokingly said this Miami team this year reminds me of FSU 2 years ago. Really good, had its chance, fall short. I don't think Miami takes as big of a step back as FSU did.
Well,
I
it's
don't think.
pretty hard to take a step back to 2-10.
Yeah, I expected a step back. I didn't expect it to eliminate the football program. So that's on them. But I don't think Miami will do that. But I do think they make a step back. And I don't think I've myself never looked at, hey, who does this Florida team remind you of? And look, I think my take might be a little aggressive. I think Ali, she kind of told me hers, I think is really good. Just to kind of give us a feel like, hey, how do we think this season or how do we think what this team could be? I even said that this Gator basketball team reminds me of the UConn team of of last year, where they brought back all their talent, right? And in a year of in a league of NIL now with all this rotating talent, to be able to bring back a core group of guys is massive, especially in basketball nowadays. And that's what this Florida team has done. And they've added key pieces. So with that all being rambled and said, I'll pass it to we haven't heard Dave's. He's the only one that didn't say a pregame show. He kept his secret. So Dave, you're going first.
Yeah, when you sent me that earlier today, I was thinking what Florida championship team you were talking about. So I picked a Florida championship team. I compared it to the '06 team. I mean, look, you got Chris Leak, who's the quarterback. Obviously, you can't compare Lagway to Tim Tebow because Tim Tebow was a wrecking ball of a dual threat quarterback. I don't think Lagway's going to mow down that many people as Tebow did, but of course, he's got legs, he's got wheels. I mean, you got Deshaun Wynn on that team. You can kind of compare him to Jade Ball. You got Brandon James. Are we going to have a Brandon James this year? Is it going to be Jere Hawkins, something like that? I mean, we don't know who's going to be returning kicks this year because DK's out. You had Billy Lasco, Andre Caldwell, of course, a freshman Percy Harvin. You had Dallas Baker. You had all these guys, and it looks to be like you got one hell of a receiving core right now that equals at least the high school talent that they had. Now, I'm not going to say if they're going to go out there and do the things that they did. You had a David Nelson, you also had Riley Cooper. I mean, you were just loaded on that team. And, obviously got to give a shout out to Stephen Harris out there. That was on the national championship team, also on the Monday show. I just feel that like that '06 team, you had your '05 season and it didn't go the way you wanted it to, but it you kind of like Ali said earlier, you kind of made some ground in that '05 team, kind of like when you did last year. Last year here, it didn't start off that great. Towards the end of the season, you win 4 games in a row, you wind up going 8-5. Can Florida get over the hump with the new weapons that they've added? Granted, they are freshmen at the wide receiver core. You did have a returning Jake Slaughter on your offensive line. You have some other offensive linemen that are returning as well. You got some defensive linemen returning. Is this the year that Florida can get over that hump? Now, of course, there was not a playoff back then. There wasn't a gauntlet that you had to go through. I mean, you had to get through your normal schedule, but you also had to get up through your normal schedule almost unscathed. There may be one loss in the SEC to get to the national championship game. Can Florida do that? Get through their schedule plus get through that playoff? That's quite a feat. But I mean, hey, look, DJ Lagway get in his second year. Does he get more acclimated with the offense? Do we see DJ Lagway take the next step? I think that's going to be the biggest question going into 2025.
Allie, you can go first. You can go.
Okay. First of all, I'm gonna get Steve Harris. I hope Steve Harris is watching. I'm thinking he's gonna have the same exact reaction as I do, which is like, oh, whoa. That's a lot to compare to the '06 team. I don't know that there's a whole lot of evidence that shows that they're similar. Mine is the '05 team.
You're right. That
Um,
team wasn't very good. You're right. This team's gonna be way better. Just
well,
easy, easy. We gotta be careful. Steven's gonna start yelling at us. He's in enough Twitter battles this week. We don't need him yelling at us.
Well, my Twitter was hacked 2 weeks ago, so I have seen none of this
You're not
because
back?
I cannot No, I'm still not back. I filled out every damn form. There was at some point I created a new Twitter just so that I could reach Twitter because nobody's answering any of my emails, and they said, we can't answer our DMs unless you're verified. My original account is verified, which is still charging me, but I cannot get into it. I can't even change the payment information because that's literally inside of X, Twitter, whatever. Elon's doing me no favors.
I was
So if you
wondering
get a
why
weird
you
message
were
from me,
retweeting TD
it's not
Gator
me.
stuff. I was like, that doesn't seem
Yeah,
like Alex.
well, none
You
of
were,
that, and
you
nothing
are.
that I've done since 2 Fridays ago was me.
You're still
Dave
retweeting
messages
Gator
me,
stuff, to be fair. So it's on
which is
par with.
weird, right?
Yeah, I thought you were
Dave
back.
messages me the other day and is like, "Was that you on Twitter that messaged me?" I was like, "No, no,
Yeah.
that is
I
that
got,
is
I got
absolutely not.
a
No."
fake Allie
Okay,
DM and I had to text her on her phone.
but anyway, all right, let's circle back here. I think this team has the chance to be similar to the '05 team. And when we say the '05 team fell short of their goals, I don't know that I think that's fair. I don't think the '05 team knew what their goals were. I don't know that the '05 team knew how good they were, and they were good. They were a last second loss to South Carolina away from playing in an SEC title game. And I mean, truly, I was back at Eric's house with the kegs, waiting for them to come back from South Carolina, and they freaking couldn't get it done up there. So we had to drink our misery instead of celebrate our SEC championship appearance. But that was a good team, and I think that this team is probably 1 year away from being a great team. But I still think they can take a huge step in the right direction from last season. I think there's a lot to build on. I don't know that I think this team is filled with the leaders that the '06 team had, but I think there's the potential for leadership, and that'll get developed this year. And a year from now, this team can compete. Certainly with the playoffs, it's easier than when you had to, essentially run the table, right? To have a chance to play for a national championship or come close to it. But I do think the '05 team was a really strong team. It was the foundation for what '06 became. And the work that they put in there, we watched pay off. And I kind of think that's where this team is. I don't think they're to the point where they're going to realistically make a championship run, but I think they're going to be really good, and they're going to make progress.
I think that's a good point too. Is that like that team, that '05 team, given the new circumstances, can still make a playoff run because of how it's situated. You don't have to be perfect, and that's why you're saying
Right.
that '06 team is hard to compare. Look, honestly, any team prior to these playoffs are going to be tough because of
It's
how
hard.
good
Yeah.
those teams had to be to do what they did. It's again, I kind of told you some of the teams that I was thinking about comparing them to, and I was like, I know it's kind of crazy to think about, but what I was trying to embody is just the young, exciting youth that was coming in. But
Yeah.
so look, I have two. I'm gonna stick with the Gator theme because I didn't have a Gator. I had a non-Gator, but I'll stick with the Gator theme. I'll tell you what my non-Gator theme was, and you guys can make fun of me after the fact. But my Gator team, I think that they kind of suit really well to would be that 2019 with Kyle Trask because of the pieces that are there. I think wide receiver wise, I think we're actually a little bit better. But you obviously had Tony on that team. Kyle Pitts is a different factor. You can kind of place that anywhere. They had Elam on that team as well. You had NFL playmakers on defensive line. I think that's where this team really kind of fits into it. I think Kyle Trask came in with a little more experience, but I think there's other areas on this team that are elevated higher than that 2019 team. So that's where I think we can the ceiling of success can be and can really pop off the lid. Again, they also had Damian Pierce, kind of the same style of running backs. I don't think we used Pierce in the right way while we had him. And that's why it's even hard to compare to me and this team to those 26 and 28, the 2008 team, two championships teams, just because the style of play, the running backs were very fast, obviously with Dempsey and Rainey. They don't possess the same style of running backs that Napier goes after and that we run with. We're more of the power back situation now, and we haven't had in a while. The team that I told beforehand, and again, when I looked into it and kind of started to see all the guys, it was a little bit of a stretch. And I get that. The idea of it, though, was that it has that potential. And it was the Bama team when Tua stepped in. So Tua comes in during the championship game for Jalen Hurts, wins the Natty against Georgia, then comes back and becomes the guy, right? Like that was their up-and-coming guy. That's kind of how I was looking at DJ Lagway. That running back room with Najee Harris, Jerome Ford, and I think someone else, again, massive running back room. I don't think we can compare to that room, but same style. And even that wide receiver room, you had Judy, Ruggs, and Devontae Smith, Heisman winner.
Yeah.
Very talented guys. And when you look at our room, I'm excited about that room too. Do we have a Heisman winner there? I don't know. I think Dolly Wally and those guys could definitely play at that caliber. I don't think we'll ever see a Heisman winner again, like outside of Jeremiah Smith, and Jeremiah Smith makes Devontae Smith look like a three on their wide receiver room. So that's just how crazy the kind of that year is when you think about that. And honestly, what I was really looking forward to is just the trench work that this Florida team brings. I think it's going to be. You said it at the top of the show. Great point. I don't know who you got it from, but I think this O line is the top 5 in the SEC, no question. Which is something that I don't think Florida's had in quite some time. Which that's where I'm really, really excited about. Defensive line, I think there's a few holes that are left to be unseen, but can be really, really good next year. I don't think it's going to be. Could it be a step back? You lose Cam Jackson, you lose guys like Jack Pyburn. I think it could be, but it could also either stay right where it is or take a little bit of a leap with guys like Cameron James, Cam Banks, DeAndre Robinson, the core that is still coming back. Those guys can have a really good, and look at how much of an impact they had at such a young age. That should be what excites us. So good stuff. I think those were all healthy. I think your 05 one was good.
You did say something about the '08 team and the running style being different, but if you think about that '05 and that '06 team, Deshaun Wynn and Jaden Baugh actually have a somewhat similar running
Yeah.
style. And, really the '06 was Billy Latsko and Deshaun Wynn. Brandon James was returning kicks, but we didn't
Okay.
move to that smaller, shiftier running back until that '08 season. But I would say Deshaun and Jaden are probably I'm
Kind of
trying to
similar.
think who a similar kind of comparison. Yeah.
Go ahead, Dave.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say I agree. I mean, I was talking about Jaden Ball, and Jaden Ball has similar stats to Deshaun Wynn. Now he didn't play the whole season though. I don't think he started the whole season. He was in and out, but I mean, he averaged 5 yards per carry. He had almost 700 yards rushing. I mean, imagine what you can get out of a full season of Jaden Ball with a dual threat quarterback this time. Not Graham Mertz, who really isn't your dual threat quarterback. You have a dual threat in DJ Lagway, who will have a healthy leg and hopefully has a healthy leg all season. Because I think with Billy Napier's system and the way that he likes to run that RPO, you had an Anthony Richardson that was making plays in the run game, but could hardly hit the broadside of a barn when he threw the football. I don't think you're going to have that with DJ Lago. I think you're going to have a little bit more of an accurate quarterback. Of course, we need to see him get better on his intermediate throws and all that. And I think he will as he gets more acclimated with the offense. But I mean, just
Yeah.
with what you've seen with DJ Lagway playing with just one leg right now. I mean, he had two, but one of them was pretty solid than the other one. But to
Thanks for the
see him,
clarification, Dave.
yeah, basically to see,
He
to see
wasn't
what he's done.
amputated. Don't worry, y'all.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I'm excited for it though. I mean, like you just don't know what you're going to get every football season. So
I think what we can all come to an agreement on is that all three of us compared it to a team that was on the up
Yeah.
trajectory
On the episode.
trajectory.
Mhm.
Some a little more than aggressive than others, but I think, and again, I think we can all agree on that, and that's where the excitement is. And again, like I said, it's hard to really compare it to some of these teams because what these teams had to be as successful as they are. Again, my first thought, before I dug into it, was kind of comparing to LSU, but that team was just, it's not even close. That's crazy. But again, my thought process was like young quarterback. There wasn't much on Joey Burrow when he got to LSU. That's where I started. I was starting with quarterbacks and then going from there. And then when I started looking into it, I was like, yeah, we don't compare to this team at all. This team, that team was outrageous too. So I think again, that's when you.
There's some people that think that was the best team that's ever played college football. So like maybe we pump the brakes on that.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
up there
I've
with it.
seen better.
I think it
I've
is.
seen they had a pretty elite offense, but I've seen some better defenses.
I think that's the part that, yes, I think defensively they're not as sexy, but offensively, and honestly, why we say it's because when you look at the team and then how it translates to the NFL, that's where it's crazy. Like JJ Jamar, like those are by far the two best wide receivers. Well, a question. It's them two and everybody else right now. Joey Burrow is obviously in the conversation for elite quarterback. That's where I think a lot of it stands. But yeah, defensively, I don't think it was as better or as good as other ones. But that's always a fun argument as to which is the best championship team of all time. This Ohio State one was really good on paper. I mean, the talent there. Will, look, honestly, if you were Will Howard in a weird way, I mean, did a phenomenal job, but he doesn't have the sex appeal at quarterback as any of the other ones. But defensively, name wise, like on paper, sexy. Offensively, with what Jeremiah Smith did as a rookie, their running back room, their amount of talent they have on the O line going to sexy. It's literally just missing a nice little sexy quarterback to throw in there. You get a guy like Joe Burrow with beautiful hair back there, the conversation changes. I think. Maybe I'm just in love with Joey Burrow. I don't know. Maybe I just want to give him a quick shout out. But I really think on paper this team's good. It just didn't dominate again, like these other teams we've talked about throughout the regular season. But by God, when it came time to do it, they got it done. So
Just
I don't know.
fund a team like Michigan, and you'll be able to beat them all the time.
I mean, that team, I feel like that was probably one of the least strongest teams in the last decade, is that Michigan team. I think it was a good team. I think they dominated, but they don't carry the same sex appeal. We're way off topic, but this is good stuff.
Yeah, well, that's because they didn't have to be that good. They were cheating.
Come,
So,
Allie, come on. They got listen. I was Team Blue that year because they got caught. I think, or caught, or at least figured out they were cheating. Harbaugh gets canned, and then they've got to win the Ohio State game without him, and then everybody knows they're cheating. So then people are calling everyone they're playing against to give them the cheat sheet, and they're still winning. Who's got it better than us? Nobody. I loved it. I loved it. All right, let's we got Allie for a few more minutes. So we'll try to get through all of them. My guy Buddy, man, he tries a hard bargain. I'll tell you. We got our top breakouts. We did this last year with you, Allie. I don't know if you remember, and it was a great time. My favorite part of it all was our boy Swolder picked Derek Wingo, and I don't think that guy played 3 snaps. I think he had more highlights on us talking about him than he did. Nothing but love for Wingo. Love the guy, but that linebacker room ended up being loaded. So we're
yeah.
gonna have our breakout players. Allie, you're going first on this one. 2 from the offense and 2 from the defense, and Davey, I'll let you go.
All right. Well, I wrote down one from each because I didn't follow directions, but I have Jaden Boff on offense. And I'm going to go with this is
Brandon, that was for you.
an unsexy pick, but I'm going to go with Fletcher Westfall. And I'll
Hmm.
tell you why. I talked to a couple different recruiting people lately who told me that they think that part of the reason we haven't gone after O linemen harder in the portal this winter was because they are really excited about the development of Fletcher Westfall, which I found
He's
really,
a
really, really
tackle,
interesting.
just so everyone's
He
aware.
is. So I'm sorry, picked the offensive line wasn't necessarily the sexiest pick, but I am interested to see how much he gets into the rotation and what we get from him. But I really do think Jaden Baugh is uh, incredible. I really like Jacoby Jackson. I think Webb will contribute. It's not like I mean we're an embarrassment of riches in the running back room at this point, but there's something about Jaden Baugh. I have loved him since watching the spring game last year. Um,
Runs hard.
he runs so hard. He's like a bowling ball. Like I feel like he is almost like he's your old school running back, much more than
Yeah.
these little shifty guys that Florida has had for so long. Like I appreciate the hard nosed running. I think he has a breakout season. And then on defense, I wrote down LJ McCray. I think he had flashes last season where he just really, really started to come on. And I think this will be the season he comes into his own. And there's opportunity there, right? And I think he's going to make the most of it.
I say something about ball, and I've completely just drew a blank there on oh yeah, I would say this freshman year was a breakout year for him. So for
Yeah.
him to have another one would be fantastic. I remember Harold Perkins, who I love at LSU. I would argue he had a breakout year his freshman year, and I made a video saying I think he'll have a breakout year his sophomore year, and that's just how good I thought he was going to be. I think they misused him. I saw an article today they're talking about using him in the star again too, and I think that's gonna hurt him again in his success. I don't know
Yeah.
how legitimate that was, but he definitely struggled his sophomore year, and then he got hurt. So
Yeah. Should have come to Florida.
should have been an
We
absolute
wanted him.
killer.
We wanted him.
We had him. The reason I like him so much because I remember he was right there, and so I like to
Yeah.
follow guys that we were close with. Colin Simmons is another one that we weren't really close with Colin, but I remember him just being here. So those guys, I'm like, dang, like
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
could have been. I haven't heard much from Xavier Filsaime, which makes me feel good. So I feel like we got a W there.
Right.
I keep
Right.
score.
That was
I keep
funny.
score.
Well,
So
I
what
mean,
was-
Pup, we wanted Pup so bad, and then we ended up with him. So you got to keep close tabs because you never know who's going to be on your roster the following year.
I'm on the recruiting staff. I wasn't supposed to tell anybody, but now you guys know. Dave.
Oh man. Well, I got 2 defensive guys I'm going to go with here first. I'm going to pick Devin Moore. Obviously, when he's been on the field, he's caused a lot of pass breakups,
Like that one.
interceptions.
Yeah,
He,
that's a
he's
good
been
one.
all over the field. He's been a great corner, but the problem with him is he hasn't been able to stay healthy. Can Devin Moore stay healthy this year and play a full season? I think if you can get a full season out of Devin Moore, that's really going to help out that defensive back room, especially with the
Yeah.
safeties and everything they got back there. And I like Tyreek Sapp. I mean, this guy had 8 sacks last year, 2 forced fumbles. the guy was all over the field. He was a ball hawk towards the end of the season, and I think like if I go by PFF grades a lot, and I love PFF. Um,
Yeah.
he's constantly had a defensive. I mean, last year he had a defensive grade of 90, which is unheard of. And then he's constantly had PFF grades in the 70s and 80s in just about every statistical category. I think we're going to see a lot of big things from Tyreek Sapp. Offensively, I have to go with Jake Slaughter. I mean, coming back, already got the brick. I mean,
I mean,
I
that's
think I
crazy.
saw a
Lord,
Yeah,
build on
that's a
that.
big bad no. It's not, hey, it's
yeah,
not
and there
Wingo.
were
Cut him some slack. Continue, Dave. You're
yeah,
cooking.
yeah. But I think when he's going to come back, he's going to return. I mean, just winning the awards that he did. Obviously, the whole nation of college football. I saw a tweet earlier today from a very credible national writer that said he thinks he's going to be the best center in college football. I mean, he has the highest PFF grade of a center in college football. I also think Aiden Mazzell. We haven't seen
You
a lot of him.
bastard. You
His speed.
bastard.
Is that your pick?
That was
I
mine.
feel like.
Yeah,
Do you remember what our picks were for everybody last year? I would love. I don't even
All
remember.
mine were right, but I don't know
I
who
was
they
gonna
were.
say I probably picked Andy Jean, and then that didn't happen. But
I was trying to find the video to see what we did, but I couldn't. I don't remember what we titled it as, but bastard. I almost had a
I'm
clean
sorry.
slate there. Ugh.
I hope Will Mazzell is watching because we both picked Aiden Mazzell. So that's two picks from two of the people on the show. So you should feel pretty good about yourself. But when Aiden Mazzell's been in the game, he's made plays. You think about that deep throw he had in the Georgia game before Lagway got hurt. You think about that big play that got called back against Mississippi State. I mean, you can see the playmaking ability from Aiden Mazzell and the speed that he possesses, the length and everything else at wide receiver. I think he takes a really, really big step this year and probably surprises a lot of folks nationally.
Yeah, look, for me, I had Aiden Mizell. I'll change it, but my other offensive guy was going to be Austin Barber. I think at left tackle, the less we hear about Austin, the better. I think he has the potential to earn himself a brick, which would obviously be a breakout year. It's obviously a contract year for him, and I feel like 2 years ago he was dealing with an injury. We gave him kind of that little pass. This past year, I feel like we're like, all right, this is going to be his year. I think I had him as a breakout player last year, and I think more so the Devin Manuel, Brandon Crenshaw. We always saw the first few games, just the back and forth of who was starting, who was playing, and what's that caused a little bit of a hiccup. But towards the end of the year, he really kind of found himself. But I think just the confusion the first couple of games kind of set him back a little bit. I think that without that, he really breaks out. As for somebody else, maybe I would go with Eugene since you took Aiden. Obviously, I wanted Aiden. I think he'll do great. And Eugene really, I mean, again, didn't really have a breakout year freshman year. Showed us signs of being a star, and even last year showed us signs, and then it was hurt all year. So he's really poised to be the guy. I mean, it's going to be his room in a sense. I mean, it should be. I mean, he's the veteran guy now outside of Studervant, but that's been there this time. So it's time for him to step up. On the defense, I think it's going to be Pup Howard. You're kind of having with Shamar James leaving. I think there was a little bit of that back and forth of who's taking over, and Pup you can kind of just tell walk past the guy the way he cares. He's a very humble guy, and in that room, it was very thick. And I don't think wanted to come in and step on too many toes, and not that he has to or will, but I think I think it'll pass over healthily to him and Miles, and I think that he'll really just be able to go play his game and not have to worry about trying not to overshadow. And I don't think that was the case, but he seems like I don't want to take this away from Shamar, but Pup Howard on the football field before his injury was just by far better than anybody else. And then look, I'm gonna go with Gums. I think Gums has another octave that he hasn't touched yet off
Yep.
the edge. And I think with the guys that we lost in the edge room, his expectation of what he's supposed to do is only going to amplify. So I think Tyreek Sapp was a great pick because, I mean, going into it, I think one of us had to have picked Sapp, but maybe not because a lot of eyes were on Boone. A lot of eyes were on LJ McCray coming in as a freshman. Sapp was kind of just the guy that had kind of been riding along. We loved him because he was a Gator, but hadn't really stepped up last year, and I think he still has another octave that he can hit. So all good players. I mean, those are all look, and none of us mentioned DJ Lagway, which is really exciting. And there's a lot of nobody mentioned Dallas Wilson, nobody mentioned Studervant, nobody mentioned. I mean, the safety room. I think Gregory Smith's another guy you can kind of like an honorable mention. I think he might take some strides in the safety room. Bryce Thornton, Aaron Gates, Sharif Denson. Those guys really started to find their identity. They could have a monster year going into next year. So the whole team could break out. We could rock and roll, and I love it.
I was gonna say I think DJ Lagway is a gimme. So,
I mean, is he though?
he might be
I
6-0
mean,
as a starter when he finishes games.
Yeah, I mean, he
That's a
didn't
good
play a
point.
full season, so I feel like no matter what, right? You complete a full season, as long as he continues on the trajectory that he had when he was the starter, you're you've got to consider it a breakout year.
They said I picked Slackman. I think you picked Slackman, Allie.
I did. Now that you say
Yeah.
that, I did. I picked Joey Slackman.
Mr. Nobody's trying to throw me. I was a
I
Slackman guy.
apologize. That was me. That was 1,000% me. Damn it.
We were doing
See, Mr.
smelling salts and everything.
Yeah, Mr.
Yeah,
Nobody
I
trying to
was
get at
sold
me.
on the cannonballs in the, ice bath and the smelling salts got me. I was fooled by,
You bought the
you
hype.
know, I bought the hype, all the optics.
I mean, we
Damn it.
bought
We
smelling
all
salts, so we invested into the hype, okay?
Yeah, you were. You did. You invested in that. That's true.
my nose
Yeah,
still hurt.
you guys did it worse. Do we have time for one more topic, or do you got to rip?
No, let's do it. Let's do one
All
more
right.
topic.
I love it. Look at this. We might get all of it in here. The last thing was have hot seat, but we'll just do that with Dave. I want to do the SC quarterbacks with you. Is that cool?
Okay. Yeah, that works.
Okay. So top three, top two SEC quarterbacks. We'll let Allie go first in case you have to dip, and that way
Okay.
we'll work that out. But top SEC quarterbacks headed into 2025 for next year. I mean, I think this year was talented. I think this year or last year, excuse me, the expectation was high with Ewers and Jackson, and Nico was obviously very high. Jackson
Yeah.
Arnold was high on a lot of people's lists. Milrow was high, which didn't really work out. But this
Sure.
year, I think there's a lot of youth and a lot of the ceiling
Yeah.
seems to be higher. Although the base doesn't seem as high as what it was, I think the ceiling is exciting. But what do you got for top three?
So I have Nussmeyer at LSU. I
Mm.
have Lenore Sellers at South Carolina, and then DJ Lagway.
What order? I need an order.
Oh, that's hard. Probably Nuss gets the first nod, I would
Okay.
say, and then I think maybe Sellers and Lagway, and that's based on experience. I think that order potentially reshuffles at the end of the year, but I think those are probably the top three returning. I would assume there are a lot of people would put Arch Manning in that, but I think that's name recognition more than anything else, right? Name recognition over substance. So, and again, by the end of the season, maybe he's in that list. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like Nussmeier had a little bit of a roller coaster season last year, but still overall was pretty impressive. And LSU is LSU, right? They're always going to be pretty darn good. And so then you get a decent quarterback that kind of puts you a little bit over the top there. But I don't know. What do you got?
No, I like it. I think Nussmeier's. Some people like to hate on Nussmeier. I don't get it. I think he's a great quarterback. Play calling hurt him a few times last year.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I had Lenore Sellers in the first. That was number one for me.
Yep.
And I think, look, I love DJ, and I think but Lenore showed us a lot.
Yeah.
And when
Yeah.
he finishes out, I think it was the LSU game that he got hurt. South Carolina's in the playoffs. Like, that's how close, like, that's what he
100%.
did.
Yeah.
And it's pretty damn hard to have South Carolina in the conversation for the playoffs.
Yeah, and I think and again, I think that defense was really good for South Carolina, but it's just like DJ Lagway. When he left the football field, it just changed the entire dynamic. And this Florida team is kind of very similar with DJ Lagway. Like, yes, the defense can hold its own, do its thing, but it it runs off of Lagway and that quarterback. I like Nussmeier too. I think he had a potential to go to the NFL last year. So you would be crazy not to have him in your top three. I would put him at number two again. I like Lenoris in his ceiling. His style of moving the ball, being able to be mobile. That is what's successful right now in college football. The reason why Garrett and I even think Arch struggled is because their mobility crushes them. I think they're great pocket passers, which I think Garrett will transition more to the NFL, but that's where I think it lacks off of for college. And of course, I get booed off my own show if I didn't put DJ there. But that
Right.
last spot, I mean, people are going to look at it being probably with Arch and those guys there, but I would still take DJ Lagway, honestly. I mean, I know you can say it's because it's who you are, but I would. He's shown it. He
He's shown us
has.
more. I mean, even if it's a homer pick or not or whatever, he has shown us more.
Yep. Even over Nico. Not a big fan of Nico. You got to go, or you want to hear Dave's thought?
I want to hear Dave's, and then I'll hit the dusty trail here.
The Nico gotta go. Yeah, I got Garrett Nussmeier as my number one, and probably I'm gonna get killed for that. But I mean, he threw for over 4,000 yards last year. His touchdown to interception ratio wasn't the best, but he's got more of that like Brett Favre style where he just like chucks the ball and just tries to get it down the field. But the only reason I had Nussmeier on this list too is because if you look at what they did in the portal, they have like the number one portal class. They added Barry and Brown, Nick Anderson. Destin Hill at wide receiver. I mean, they've got a lot
Russian
of
was
elite
pretty good
weapons.
class too.
Yeah, week 3 is gonna be a game for the defense, and I'm curious to see how that game goes before we play Miami. I do have Lagway on here. Obviously, you know all the reasons why I picked DJ Lagway. 6-0 as a starter when he finishes games. Likely beats Georgia if he's healthy. Entire team just plays differently when he's out there, and I mean, you see the difference when he's out there. And I think that with the O line additions and the solid O line that you're going to have, you got Jane Ball returning. We've already discussed all the returners and who we're excited about. I think he makes the list. I would put him at number 2 or number 3. I do like Sellers. I did have him there. I don't want to go. Y'all pretty much said what I had to say about Sellers, but I also got like kind of a sleeper on here. I got Austin Simmons from Ole Miss.
Yeah, you're a big
Um,
Simmons guy.
I liked what he did in high school. He was a savage in high school. I think he's got a lot. I think he's got a really good football IQ. I think he throws the ball really effectively. They
He's
added a
mentally
lot of
weak, Dave.
yeah,
Mentally weak.
mentally. Yeah,
I love the
uh,
pick, and I love the thrash. Like I love this combo right here because I like the reach. We needed it. We needed a little bit of just a little bit of a change, and then Allie just ran you over with a bus, and that fires me up. I'm always down for that.
He
yeah, I wish
literally messaged me on Instagram and said he's not scared of competition and then blocked me.
Okay. Well, I mean, I just like how he plays at quarterback. I mean, he's got great accuracy, quick decision making. He had elite numbers in high school, and they loaded up on offensive linemen too in the portal and wide receivers. So I got him as the sleeper, not really in the top
He
3
was
or top 5,
defended
but I
by
got him.
the 40-year-old mom. He will never survive Death Valley.
Maybe
I
not.
love I love how Dave just like he was like sold on his point. He's like, I don't really care, Allie. Here's my thought. Okay. And he finished it.
Doing it to me all night. Y'all been doing it to me all night.
Incredible, Dave. This guy is a professional. I love it. And you just called
He
him a
is.
40-year-old mom?
Look,
Did you just refer to Austin Simmons as a 40-year-old mom?
No,
This is a
I referred
child,
to myself.
Allie.
I said he got his feelings hurt by a 40-year-old mom. He's not going to survive Death Valley.
Well, you
I'm the
just hurt
40-year-old
Dave and I
mom.
too, Allie. Okay, you're on a burner right now,
look,
so
look,
relax.
I saw this kid step in for Jackson Dart against Georgia, and he drove the ball all the way down the field down their throat. So, I mean,
Everybody did last year, though, Dave. Look, I like the pick. I like where your confidence is at. I like it. I mean, look, I think John Mater from Oklahoma. Some people have him pretty high. I'm not. Again, I think Oklahoma's offense was in shambles last year, so I don't think you just can plug and chug that and fix that. So I don't know why I feel about it. I had Jackson Arnold high on my list, and that bit me in the butt. So, well, Allie, thank you as always. Tell them where they can give you a find, where they can follow along, and be sure to support you.
Well, if you
Well,
go
not
to
on Twitter.
YouTube, a peek inside Gator football, I have no idea when you'll be able to follow me on Twitter again. If you get a message about some kind of Bitcoin, do not invest.
Oh.
But
no. That's like investing in Life Wallet. You're not going to get a return.
Wow.
you're
Okay.
not getting a return. So if I try to sell you something on Twitter, it's not me. It's fine.
I love it. Tell Buddy we said hey. Be good, Allie. And till next time, go Gators. Thank you.
All right. Talk to you later. Go Gators.
See ya. Boys and girls, 320 strong. Yeah, almost 30 strong. Let's get to 100 likes. Go give Allie Peak some love. Appreciate you guys for hanging out with us tonight. Great show so far, Dave. And what do you I mean? I'm loving every minute of it right now. Let me go ahead and get our last topic here. I forgot.
Had a little bit of sauciness on this one too. I kind of
that
like
was fun. Hey, listen. She was ready to
Hey,
go. I love it.
I love it when she's on the show. I
great
would
content.
love her to be on every week.
Great content. I tried telling you, like, hey, like, let's not bring Allie on G Boys when she comes on. I'm like, all right, Dave, we won't bring her on. Next week. All right, real quick though, we got a super chat from our sponsor.
Dude.
From Rookie. Yeah, he's one of the sponsors of the show. What's Twitter?
I think I read that comment earlier, and that's why I was laughing during when.
$10 from Rookie says Miami fans eat bananas for the length, not the taste.
We got to
Unreal.
clip that.
Yeah,
We
that's that's got to be clipped. That's a no-brainer on that one. What's up, Stephen Holly? Had a great convo with Mr. Stephen Chad today. It was good. It was good stuff. Good stuff there.
I don't know. Yeah, how's he feeling after that season?
Oh, here we go. That's how I answered the phone. I answered. I go 2-10. How can I help you? he loved it. He loved it. All right, let's do our last little topic. I don't know why I shrunk you there. That was my bad. Honey, I shrunk David.
It's okay. It's all right. I'm 7'6". I need to be shrunk a little bit.
Hey, you're right. Gators basketball. Another dominant win against Oklahoma last night. Just playing with their food against Oklahoma. Love seeing that. looking like one of the best teams in the country, if not the best team in the country. It's looking good headed into the right time of the year. But let's talk about this, man. Hot seat. Top five coaches on the hot seat thus far must win. I think it's kind of what the article was phrased at from 247. It said, yeah, most pressure. I guess I can't say hot seat, most pressure. I'll make sure that we get it right. They definitely worded it a certain way so they could feel important. And I respect it. Look, the reason I want to mention it is because the first time since I think Billy's been here and since we started this show that Napier has not been on this list. And I felt like we have to talk about it because I feel like fans have made their voices heard in the comments of like, we got to quit talking about Billy being the hot seat. It's affecting recruiting. We've been yelled at saying that we're part of the problem. And I hear you and I love it. But now we're here to tell you that he's not on the hot seat. But we got to talk about the guys that are on the hot seat. A name that I saw that I've always wondered why it was never, like, I feel like they should be on it almost not every year, but like how they're not always in the conversation. But like, and then I kind of just toss it up to like, he's a man, he's 40, and nobody really cares, is Mike Gundy. I mean, the guy going into the year that they went to the Big 12 championship, which kind of was like, they were never really going to win it, but they made it that far. And then the following year, they're favored to win the whole damn thing and just completely laying it, basically just do what Oklahoma State normally does. And so now here he is on the hot seat, which I found most pressure to win. And I agree. I mean, I feel like that conference has kind of opened up, but I don't know what they've done for him to even have success. We'll see. Number one is Brent Venables on this list here. And I couldn't agree more. I talked about it last year. I said, look, I'm surprised he made it to this point. And we even talked about it when Cody and I talked about taking over play calls, that he was making that call. I said, look, his back's against the wall. He knows it. Everyone knows it. And he's going all in, similar to kind of what Billy's doing. Third being my favorite coach, Karen Norvell. Mike Norvell from FSU is also, and look, I mean, I would say number one. I think with how the last 2 years transpired, what you went and did in the offseason in regards to all the coaching changes and still spending a buttload of money in the transfer portal, you essentially went back to your model that you stuck with for the last 2 years. And that model, the way that it survives and the way that it's successful is you have to be successful that next year. Like, it's not a growing thing. It's not a rebuild thing. You got to be good, because what's your next pitch now? You can't, it's like, well, wait, we got this. You don't have anything coming up. You lost a lot of recruits. You lost your quarterbacks. You're not maintaining guys either in recruiting as well. So that's an issue. What are your thoughts on the top three? And then we'll go to the last two.
Who's the third one?
Karen Norvell.
Karen Norvell. What was this? You said Venables, Karen Norvell,
and Mike Gundy. Sorry.
Oh, Mike Gundy. Is Hugh Freeze on that list? Please tell me he is.
He's not. It's a great name.
How is he not on that list? I
You
don't
know
think Auburn went to a bowl or done anything since he's been there, and he's had top 5 classes, and he hasn't done anything with them at all.
We're tagging, hey, clip this, and we're tagging Jake because I love it. I want to hear what he has to say. And I think an interesting one, they have Luke Fickell at 4, and Luke Fickell just signed an extension today with Wisconsin. So I don't know how he's on this. I mean, I think he has pressure to win. And again, it's not hot seat, but I agree. I think Auburn is. I think you're spot on. Hugh Freeze should take Luke Fickell's spot in a heartbeat. Great point. Dave's on a burner today. When Alex not here bullying him, this guy is dialed.
Well, I mean, like, okay, so they got a new quarterback right now, I guess. So that might change their offense and the way that they go through. I mean, like this. I mean, maybe they're expecting big things from Hugh Freeze this year based on how he's recruited.
But still,
and how
your
these
point
kids
is the most pressure. I think he still has a lot of pressure to win. You're solidifying your point.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you have to win this season. Like, what happens if Hugh Freeze goes and he doesn't make a bowl game again? I mean, like, is Auburn still going to keep him around? Like, is he going to be on a hot seat next year? What's his buyout look like? I don't even know what his buyout looks like, but I just haven't seen anything from Auburn at all. And I've been waiting because they keep flipping our players and they keep beating us in recruiting. When's it going to happen? Like, it makes no sense. But I do understand why Mike Norvell's on there. You look at how, when you fail at recruiting in high school and your players are getting flipped, you have to go to the portal. And he's gone to the portal so many times to where it's actually been a detriment to his team. I mean, you have to have a good, solid mixture of high school recruiting plus transfer portal to be successful. But I don't even see how, with some of the guys that he got in the transfer portal the first cycle, he didn't do anything in the ACC, because the ACC is hot garbage besides Clemson. And I'm not even going to name the other team because they're hot garbage too. But
Well, it's
it's
Syracuse and SMU, the heart of the SEC.
right, exactly. So it's it's gotten to a point to where it's like Florida State fans are pissed off. Like I talk to them all the time. They're down in the dumps. They're mad. They don't even really think they're going to do that much this year, even with the quarterback that they got. So I don't know what's going to go on with Florida State. Gundy, I like Gundy anyway, so I don't really care what he does. I don't really pay much attention to what Gundy does at all, to be honest. But I am surprised that Hugh Freeze is not somewhere on that list, even if
Yeah,
he's not
that's
like top five, like just lower, like maybe 9, 10, something like that. He's not even on there. Like I'm actually shocked.
no, I think it's a great name. The last one being Brian Kelly, and I think we just spoke to kind of Garrett Nussmeyer and what they did in the portal. 100%. I like this name a lot up there as pressure to win. I feel like they've had some great classes, some great talent, and although
Yeah.
they've won, they've definitely haven't hit expectations for this team. And I think a lot of people, myself included, I thought LSU had an opportunity to run away with the SEC last year and kind of fell down into the pack, just didn't do anything at all. So I agree. There's honestly, in a weird way, a lot of coaches that you can place on this list. People were kind of saying Dabo in the comments. Luke Fickle's a weird one for me. That's probably a name that I wouldn't throw up there right as of now. Playing at Wisconsin, I think they're feeling pretty good about it. I think Matt Rule's good. I think he's kind of got Nebraska feeling pretty positive and pretty good about what they're doing out there. I would put Lincoln Riley up in this list over Mike Gundy, to be honest with you. I don't know if I put him in the second spot, but I would take out Gundy, Fickle, and I would put in Hugh Freeze and Lincoln Riley. Just given both of their contracts, what both of them and the expectation from both of those schools are, and the amount of money that both have spent in the portal and in recruiting, the expectations are through the roof or should be. So I think we did a better list, to be perfectly honest. So final list, High Top Sports version, Brent Venables, 1 through 5, you can kind of toss. I'm putting Mike Norvell 1, Brent Venables 2. Then I'm going to put, I think, Lincoln Riley 3. I think Lincoln over Hugh. He's been there longer. Then Hugh, then Brian. Are we in agreement there? Is that cool?
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm glad we
I
could come
trust, I
to.
trust, I trust your judgment. Maybe we should make a high top list.
We'll,
Post it
I'll
on
post it.
on
We'll
Twitter.
post it tonight.
Tag Jake in the Auburn one. No, I'm just kidding.
Gundy did almost get fired this offseason. It's just not a sexy name, Steve. I feel like those names that we just like OSU football is OSU football. Like the guy that comes in isn't gonna, you know what I mean? Like it's the two that we just Lincoln Riley that I replaced him with is that's a phenomenal swap there. I think Gundy still has pressure, but I think Hugh's up there in the top spot. I think the sexiness of his name in the school carries a lot of weight.
I don't know why Cristobal's not up there. He still hasn't won the ACC. He's had all these top 5 classes, had Cam Ward, had, Restrepo, had that big historic 10-win season. Still can't win the ACC, but hey, 41-17, right?
Mario, I don't think Mario's up there because they won games. I don't think he's up there, but I love where your head's at. Let's read a couple. Read the chat here for just a second. A couple cool things. Cole Embry said he's flying back to Florida, which new home. Love hearing that. And he also said, talk about Coach Whittingham. Yeah, Coach Whittingham is set for life. He said that as well. Super chat. But Vanderi Haas says, greetings from Brazil. Love your show. Listen to them and use your slang and terms in my classes. Florida will make the playoffs in this upcoming year. I love hearing that. Can we get a couple of the slangs that are used?
Yeah,
I would love to. I can give you more. I mean, I've got a whole book of them. So whatever you need to know. I love that.
Do you tell your teacher that you just report the news? Do you tell her that?
That's incredible. I love hearing that. Vanderi? Hopefully I said that right. If I didn't, I apologize. Yeah. Super chat from Drew Brown, $2 says, what's Lagway's NCAA overall next year? Go Gators. 91? 89? I can't remember what it was this year. Wasn't it like 86, 88? I think it's got to be in the 90s, right? Low 90s.
I haven't even got a chance to play much of that game at all, so I
haven't touched it since the season started. So, but he's talking about just next year. How do they think they'll look? That's the only reason why to get the game.
We're busy guys. We do a lot of
getting old, man.
I'm getting old. Yeah, 41 this year.
Is Brennan yelling at somebody again?
What?
Look at this, Austin Hacken, world-renowned high top sports. You know what I'm saying, boys? I mean, we're global. Okay.
Yeah, we're like Pitbull, Miss Worldwide, man.
He said it's not slang; it's just showing us Oxy education. I mean, I think that's the definition of slang, but I got what he's saying. He's like, we're in a special
I,
class of our own over here, boys. Okay, we just kind of just make up words as we go. We just kind of plug and chug and just do what we need to do. Just get butt naked and spit on it. You know what I mean? Just do what we need to do, boys. All right.
like Boomhauer.
Listen,
They don't shoot, man.
I'm proud where I'm from. Okay. Just
Hey,
brings
look,
that
man,
someone's yelling at me. I feel like
I didn't drop it.
well
I didn't
the
drop out of
the
college for nothing.
yeah, the show, the chat, it's always in its own little breed. And I kind of have to read, like, there's people arguing and yelling, and I kind of have to read through it a little bit. It's like Facebook, you know, I'm like, oh, these people are pissed. All right, keep going. Let's find some good stuff here. It's always mayhem over there.
Get past the Royal Rumble in the chat and get to like some of the good comments.
To the booty cheeks, the best that we can. Booty cheeks is a good one. Shambles, people like that one. I mean, some things I say I don't consider it slang or like earth shattering, but some people run with it. I don't know.
We call it Sheltonisms. There's several couple Sheltonisms. You know what should go in the Hall of Fame of High Top Sports though is that video of you shushing the UCF fan. Like that video is golden.
That's probably one of my douchier moments.
It's the Hall of Fame. It's the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Listen, I got bullied for that one. Not bullied, but I got reprimanded as I should. I was being a doucher, and but I mean, to be fair, UCF fans, they can be douchey bags. Again, I explained myself during that time, but looking back at it, was it my highest moment? Yes, it was.
Yeah,
It was.
a couple Dave Aruskis.
Dave Arusi. I said I love that Shelton calls it mayhem. See, I mean these are just. I can only imagine. Like my wife, she's immune to this stuff. Like she gets the full show. She gets the full package. She's fully subscribed, so she gets the Discord. she's unlocked all tiers of me. She gets unfiltered. So imagine that, y'all.
She gets the Shelton sausage.
Yeah, y'all get TV version. Okay. My son gets a little bit of it now, and it cheeses her out as well too. So it's good stuff.
Yeah, have you ever said the word barn burner? I think you have before. It's a barn burner. You remember Jim Ross? He'd be like, "Oh my god, that son of a bitch."
Is Holly's mom's beaver considered slang? It's got to be. I feel like that was, again, a lot of these things are not pre-thought. They're just I'm my best when I'm off the dome. Okay, there's a mom joke there. You see, look, that wasn't even anticipated. That's what I'm saying. We are in the PG zone. Imagine I could let it fly. We'd be in trouble. We'd be in trouble. Okay.
Well, see, hey, look, I say mom jokes on Twitter, and some people get mad at me, and I'm just like, hey, look, we love moms at High Top Sports. Okay.
This is gold. Holly's mom beaver is not slang. It's just always full of wood. This show's in shambles. We need Allie back. You see what happens when she kept us in order. She's bullied us. She checks us, keeps us in check, keeps us in line, and then she leaves, and it's just like, all right, guys, mice can play.
She is like the mom of High Top Sports. That's Allie. She keeps us in line.
Stephen Harris just said Mizell. He's 4 hours. He's watching he's in Central Time. He's watching 45 minutes ago still.
You know what? We're like D-Generation X, man. And then Allie comes in to kind of separate us.
Well, I'm a millennial.
I'm Generation X.
We could tell. We could tell. Oh wait, my Brazilian guy's back. What do you say? I'm introducing Brazilians to college football and of course the Florida Gators. Hey, that's a whole other group of NIL supporters, boys. Let's get that.
Hey, we got Brazil out there, baby. That's what
baby.
I like. I like it. All countries, all worldwide.
For Brazil, when I think of Brazil, I think of Rio, the Olympics, and then they're
Yep.
They were my TV screen for 2 weeks straight.
Her name is Rio, and
I 100% take full credit for bringing mom jokes back to the internet. With us and just the group that we've created, we have made it cool again for sure.
You've corrupted me into doing that now. Like it's like me, Mark Scott, you, Sammy, like it's everybody.
How much better is your life?
It's a lot more funnier.
It's incredible. Sure. You know who mom jokes work the best on? The wives. Those hit. Okay. Listen, you may be a little trouble, but I'm telling you, they got a different sting to it. They're hilarious. I cheese out. Like when Caitlin walks right into it, I'm like, that was golden. feels a little more
I like
personable, but they're
I
golden.
like the fact that Rook is in our Discord because I get consistent jokes and memes all the time.
Oh yeah, the Discord is in full effect. We've got them all conditioned. I
Oh
love it.
yeah, yeah. If you haven't joined the Discord, of course, join High Top Sports and be in the Discord. Now, if the Discord link does not work, you can message me on Twitter. I'll give you an invite.
Oh look,
Or
our
Shelby.
Brazilian friend. I grew up in St. Augustine, Crescent Beach. Yeah, that's where I'm from. I live right off of 16. Sean has a laptop. It's still broken. My screen's being ordered. Thanks for reminding me, Sean. I keep it closed. I don't want to look at it. I puke every time I open it, so I keep it shut.
Would you bust it during like a basketball game or something?
Do you not listen to the shows, Dave? It just shows me you don't support us.
I listen to the Monday show when I can.
My son
I'm
broke
always
it,
in the
Dave.
chat.
Thanks for
Oh, did
caring. Thanks for caring.
sharing
Someone
is caring.
someone called us
It's
D1
shared.
yappers in the comments section. I love it.
Yeah, we are. We can really. Yeah.
I
we
could
can really
listen. You guys could be here, not be here. Dave could be here. He could not be here. What you guys don't see is when I turn off the camera, I continue to talk. So this is easy for me. Okay, I do this on my spare time. Usually my wife's listening, but
I have to keep him out of line.
out of line or in line or
Out of
around the
line.
lines. Around the lines.
Maybe inside a little bit, but around.
I love it. Daniel just moved to Tally from Wall Golf. Boys, great show as always. Good to see you. Love having you guys on this beautiful Wednesday. Great conversations with great people is always a good time. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I know we did. Smash the like button, subscribe. Huge shout out to our sponsors over at BetUS, carrying the show all season long. We love you. We're gonna miss you. Until next time, baby. Peace and love.
Hey.